Steve Fossen, the original bassist from Heart, on the line right now. And we're going to be talking about Heart by Heart, who is going to be playing coming up at the Q on the 6th. Steve, you there?
I certainly am.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. We had a show last night here in Washington that was very well attended, and we had a great time, and it's a beautiful day here in Seattle.
Awesome. I always feel like asking somebody how they're doing is one of the most polite and important things you should do when you meet somebody and when you're starting a conversation with them. So, all right. So I just have you on right now? Just you?
Yes.
Okay. Excellent, Steve. Okay. So let's get down to the nitty gritty here. So can you tell us a little bit about Heart by Heart?
Yeah, Heart by Heart is, so it actually features me, the original bass player for Heart, and Michael DeRosier, the original drummer for Heart.
All right.
And
go ahead.
We have some great musicians with us. Summer Masick as our singer.
Mm-hmm.
Lizzie Damon plays acoustic guitar, electric guitar, keyboards, and she is the background vocalist. And then we have Chad Quist on lead guitar.
Excellent. Always, I as a musician and have been in a band before, I know how important it is to make sure everybody gets their name out there, make sure everybody gets credit, because there's no such thing as a one-man band, right? Like, do you feel like your guys' energy is really like compatible with each other?
Oh yeah. That's one thing that our band has. I think we have chemistry and compatibility, and it shows on stage. And every major band you can think of that is a band, not just an individual with people in their band,
right, has
that chemistry, that charisma that people can pick up on, and it translates to people enjoying the music.
Absolutely, it does. It translates to me, it translates to the people sitting down, to the people that go like, no, I'm not going to sit down for this concert. I'm getting up, right? Okay, excellent. So we got the roll call in there. How long has Heart by Heart been a thing? How long have you guys been doing
Actually, our first gig was in 2010.
Oh, okay.
And, we've had a couple of different members come and go over the years, but we've had the same basic core lineup for about 8 years.
Excellent. And that's a lot of time to build up that chemistry.
Yeah. And, and when we first get people involved in our band, we let them know our philosophy that Mike and Summer and I came up with, is that we want to portray the Heart music as honestly and authentically as we can, and take it from there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was actually, I watched your guys' promo. I listened to a couple of live shows of your guys', and yeah, it very much, you guys stay extremely true and authentic to the original Heart music. And that's really what I appreciated, because believe it or not, I don't know if Carol told you this, but I'm kind of a young whippersnapper, just turned 30 years old. And I grew up on Heart. I grew up on your guys' music, and I've always been a huge fan. I cannot say on air my reaction when Carol told me I was doing this interview. But let me ask you this. Do you feel like you have a multi-generational fan base? Oh, yeah, I definitely think we do. When we first started out, we were thinking, oh, we're just going to get the generation that we, grew up with, that's going to be very excited to see us. But over the years, we've noticed that these people are bringing their kids and their grandkids. Yeah.
And they have just as big a smiles and just as big of a reaction to the music as their parents and, whatever. So, and grandparents, I guess.
Yeah.
So, we're really happy about that. And the kids like it, young adults like it, and of course, people from my generation love it too. So
yeah, absolutely. at the end of the day, good music is good music. Good music is timeless, and that's what you guys produce. Good music. So
yeah. And so I was speaking with a friend the other day, and actually the friend was Howard Leese, the other guitar player for Heart back in the day, and we were talking that the Elvis Presley songs from Sun Studios way back in the 50s, they sound good to this day.
Absolutely.
So, and I think Heart albums sound good to this day too, because we had an excellent producer in Mike Flicker, and we also had, very high ideals and standards that we lived up to.
Yeah. And those high ideals and standards still live through Heart by Heart. Yeah,
they do. We everybody in the band has excellent equipment and really knows their gear and their instrument. Chad and Lizzie both went to the Berklee School of Music in Boston.
I know that school.
I wouldn't say that they graduated, but they did spend time there and learned their craft. And, we just, the total qualities we try to represent are, from the 60s and 70s. And that was to me, the 60s and 70s were the highlight of rock music in my life. Anyway.
Yes.
So, and I think a lot of people believe that too. So
absolutely. I 100% agree, or else I would not be working in an oldies radio station. Go ahead.
Which, by the way, I do have to thank the classic radio stations for keeping the music of Heart alive. It's so gratifying and such a wonderful thing. And it's nice to know that the hard work and effort that we put into those to make them timeless songs have paid off, and that people still enjoy them to this day. Thank you very much.
Yes, absolutely. Out of curiosity, I did have a couple prepared questions, but this one kind of came up organically. Do you ever go about your day and hear a Heart song and go like, oh, does that ever happen to you?
All the time, yeah.
Nice.
Like I'll be at the grocery store and I'll hear, Dog a Butterfly over the system. I used to work at a music store, and I hear Heart songs there all the time. And whenever I hear a Heart song, I pause and I take a listen, because I want to make sure that I'm still playing the part the way it's supposed to be played.
That is an actually interesting take. Yeah, absolutely. Let me ask you this, because you've been playing ultimately the same music for 10 years, more than 10 years, but with this band for 10 years. And as a musician myself, and sometimes things can get a bit repetitive. Do you ever kind of explore in some songs, or is it just no, we are sticking extremely authentic to the songs?
No, we definitely explore.
Okay.
Definitely explore, but we keep it within the bounds of the tune.
Yes.
And, like with Chad, he's such an accomplished guitar player that he can put in some whammy effects and other very interesting bits into the music, but it's a sidelight to the part that was played back in the original song. So
okay, excellent.
It's kind of a little extra added bonus, but we don't, it doesn't make the song sound different or anything like that. It's just an extra little added attraction.
Yeah, absolutely. It is the flair, and honestly, between I don't know if I can call myself a musician, but between two musicians, sometimes it can get a little bit boring, and sometimes you just gotta throw in a different lick in there every now and then,
Yeah, and you definitely get inspired, and that's Heart. When Mike and I played in Heart back in the day too, we did that too on stage. Like we had a certain part that we did in the studio and that we rehearsed and had ready for the concerts and everything. But at the same time, if you were struck by that inspiration, you were everyone had license to contribute their little genius when they could.
Yeah, absolutely. When inspiration strikes, you have to capitalize, or else it's gone.
That's exactly it. Yeah, that's why I try to record all the performances, so that if something really cool happens, I can
you can go back and listen to it and be like, oh,
Yeah.
I like that lick. I'm going to do that again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, excellent.
Or you can say, oh, I don't like that. I'm never doing that again.
Exactly. Yes, it goes both ways. There's very little middle ground. It's either I absolutely love it or get it out of my life. Okay, and I'm glad you brought up inspiration. Let me ask you, Steve, individually, obviously because you're the only person here. What are your musical inspirations?
Well, I have a really eclectic source of my inspiration. I mean, I like everything from soundtracks, like the spaghetti western soundtracks.
Mm-hmm.
I love the soundtracks from the heyday of Hollywood, in the 30s and 40s,
right,
50s, and Max Steiner, he's a big hero of mine.
Very nice.
Bernard Herrmann, it's all that kind of stuff. And then I also have, you'll find gypsy music in my repertoire here on my CDs, and I'm a big fan of classical music.
Mm-hmm.
I love it all.
Excellent.
I try to, work it in.
Right. Let me ask you, as a bass player, do you have any bassists out there that you feel like really influenced your style of play?
Well, I was, when I was a young man, it was Paul McCartney, Bill Wyman, and John Paul Jones.
Of course, yeah.
That really inspired me to stretch my boundaries as a player. And, and then over the years, I've learned, after hearing, Tchaikovsky and, the classical, especially Russian composers, they
right.
really do a masterful job on the bass parts.
Yes, so that is very true.
So it's just, I love the bass. I love everything about the bass. I love the way they look. I love the way they sound. And it's, the low end is such a big inspiration to me. And so I try to live up to my own standards.
Okay.
And try to, do something cool every time.
Yeah, excellent. Let me ask you this. When was do you remember the first time you picked up a bass?
Yeah.
What was that like? What was that experience like?
I was in awe and wonder of the whole thing. My dad, he said, okay, I'm tired of listening to you talk about the bass. We're going to the music store right now. We're going to rent you a bass.
Very nice.
And of course, in his mind, he thought, okay, he's going to get this bass, he's going to get it home, and he's going to play it for a couple of days, and then he's going to tire of it, and that will be the end of it. But unfortunately for him, at the time, I just kept up with it, and then when it came time to the rental agreement was over for the amp and the bass that we had rented, then if you immediately bought a bass after that all that money was applied to the new equipment that you bought. So, then I had my own, and I bought my own stuff, and and my dad, he put up with it in the early days, but then he was saying stuff like, "Well, when are you going to get a real job?"
Yes, the age-old question that every musician hears.
And I said, "Dad, this is a real job.
Yeah.
I go someplace, I do work, they pay me, and I put the money in the bank. So that's what's the difference between that and a job? I don't understand." But he wanted me to get up, and he was in real estate, and so he thought that a good profession for me would be to be a contractor and a house builder.
Of course.
Which would have been fine, but I was so overwhelmed with being a musician that nothing else even crossed my mind.
There you go. And you made it a reality.
I did, yeah. And and just like everyone says, hard work and dedication and ambition play a big part, but also luck plays a big part too. So
Absolutely.
it's the luck of finding people that are just as ambitious as yourself, the luck of being good enough and smart enough to take advantage of opportunities when they come your way. So
I wholeheartedly agree, and I thank you for bringing that up, because I feel like that's something that a lot of people, a lot of celebrities, famous people, they say the same thing that you do: hard work, ambition, dedication. Just do those three things together, and you can accomplish anything. But then a lot of them very, very, very much neglect the fact that some of them got lucky and being at the right place at the right time, talking to the right person at the right time. And luck absolutely has it has its place.
But all that hard work and dedication, it lays the groundwork for being able to take advantage of that luck when it comes along.
Exactly. And the more you practice, the more dedicated you are to your craft, I feel like the more lucky you are to come across. Well, it's not even lucky. The more opportunities you will naturally come across. And that's when the luck will come up. Okay, yes, exactly. Excellent. We need to talk about the show. We got the show starting. It is going to be on the 6th at the Quechan Casino. Have you ever been to the Quechan Casino Resort?
No, I have not.
Okay, so we call it the Q.
Yeah, because, oddly enough, so preparing for the interview with you, I went online and because I couldn't figure out how to pronounce the name.
Oh, yeah, it's Quechan, but we just call it the Q.
And almost everywhere you go, people pronounce it differently.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I even talked to a lady at the casino, and she pronounced it one way, and then another lady pronounced it another way. The same casino. So I don't know.
I entirely understand. I entirely believe that, and that's why I think we as Valley natives have just shortened it to the Q.
Yeah. Well, the one that I settled on, that the lady said, "This is it. This is it." Was Quechan.
Quechan. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So the Quechan Casino and Resort, the show is going to be on the 6th, which is 2 weeks from now, starting tomorrow. It is on a Friday, and I can't think of anything else better to do with your Friday night than going to see Heart by Heart. Let me ask you this: have you been to the Desert Southwest and toured here before?
Well, I think the furthest we got was Tucson back in the day. And this Yuma, the Yuma area and Winterhaven and everything that's an historic place in American culture.
Absolutely.
And I'm just really looking forward to being down there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yuma is very, very historical. They have the state prison out there. There's actually a lot of kind of touristy things that you can do. I know you probably got another show after that, but I know having driven to Yuma countless times, the drive over there is actually kind of nice. So I hope you'll enjoy that.
We always enjoy where we go because, I do, especially because I'm a kind of a history buff, and I just because I watch Western movies doesn't make me an expert on the West, the West and everything. But I'm very interested in the whole the history, and because somebody said that there's like a Fort Yuma that's still you can still see it from the freeway or something.
Yeah, you can.
Yeah, so hopefully we'll be able to stop there for a second so I can check it out. Yeah,
it's very interesting. I have been there. I've been to the old. It's called the Old Prison, and it is very. It's almost creepy, but you walk in and you immediately sense the history. That you immediately sense like, wow, people were here and using this facility hundreds of years ago, and it's still up. Yeah, excellent. Okay, let's see. What else can we talk about the show? Let me ask you this, because this was something that always came up when I was in a band. let me ask you this: do you guys have a set list that you guys stick to, or do you guys mix it up a bit?
Well, we normally have a set list that's tried and true, that we figure out what works and, what makes us feel good about what we're doing and makes the audience respond. But we do mix it up with the hard rock, fast songs, and the slower, beautiful songs too.
Right.
So.
Excellent. Is there? Oh man, I hate to put you on the spot here, but is there a certain song that every time you see it's coming up on the set list, you're like, oh, all right, this is the song?
Well, I would say my favorite song to play live is Magic Man.
Okay.
Because that was actually the very first song that I recorded for the album Dreamboat Annie. And it was the very first song I ever heard played over the airwaves, which is monumental for a lot of musicians, and It was for me too. So, Magic Man has everything. It's got guitars, it's got drums, it's got keyboard part, great vocals. The whole thing is just really a neat song for me, and I felt like I really contributed a lot to that song. So I love that song. Excellent.
Yeah, and it's always nice. Let me ask you this. I've actually been talking to a lot of musicians lately. Do you feel like when you add your music to the general song, your input and all that stuff, do you feel like it like the song almost becomes your baby, your child?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
right.
You do. Yeah, it's and then it's so gratifying to when they say, well, what can we do here? And then you come up with a little ditty that works and that everybody likes it and they compliment you on it. And then, that's a great feeling too.
Yes, absolutely. It's the artist feeling of I have produced something. What do you think? Oh, you like it. Thank you for confirming that what I did was valid.
Yeah. It's all good. And that's what bands are all about. You're there and you're helping each other and you're encouraging each other, because it's like a football team. I mean, the quarterback doesn't win a game all by himself.
100%.
He's got to rely on the big guys to block for him. He's got to rely on the fast guys to get down the field so he can throw a pass to him, and he's got to rely on the big, strong running back to pound away at the defense.
Absolutely. And if there's one thing you should know about me, Steve, I love a good sports metaphor.
Oh, good.
Yeah, and that was spot on. Thank you so much for explaining that. Well, all right. So one more time, want to get this out there. The Heart by Heart is performing at Winterhaven on the 6th at the Casino, the Quechan Casino and Resort. Be there. It's going to be a great time because Heart by Heart consists of two of the original members. That is Steve Fossen and is it Michael or Mike? Do you go by Michael or Mike?
Oh, either one's fine, but we call him Mike.
Mike DeRosier. DeRosier, did I get that right?
Yeah.
Excellent.
So and Mike is a totally unique drummer he's the kind of drummer you just don't see anymore playing. Because his big influences were Buddy Rich and John Bonham.
Okay.
And a lot of people have, they'll say they love those two drummers, but they never, they don't produce the way Mike does in that genre, so.
Yeah, absolutely. Those are very interesting influences to have for a drummer in a rock band almost.
Yeah. He and Mike is, he is such a joy to watch, and that's why we insist that he always have a drum riser so people can see him do his stuff, and it's a joy to play with. I've been playing with Mike since 1975, and I still enjoy it every time we play together. So
excellent, and I'm sure that comes across when you guys are actually performing, because I know we touched upon it at the beginning, but chemistry is so important for performers.
It is, and a lot of people overlook that too, because the band they get band members that are just up there just wanting to collect a check, and that's their bottom line. So,
yeah. But for you guys, it's all about the music. It's all about making sure that you are having the best time that you can possible while you're on stage, playing the music you love.
Exactly.
Yeah, excellent. All righty. Well, Steve, it has been an honor to be talking with you right now. Like I said, I cannot say on air my reaction when Carol told me that I was doing this interview, because it involved a loud curse word that I was very excited about. Yeah, is there anything else you want to talk about? Anything else you want to say?
No, I just want to thank you, Eli, for a very conscientious interview, and I love your enthusiasm, and I can tell that you really do appreciate and love classic rock music.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, I love it. And I've been on this kick of trying to find new old music, if that makes sense. Like I'm 30 years old. I haven't heard everything, and so I'm constantly trying to find new music from the 60s, 70s, 80s, and all that stuff. Let me end with this question: do you have any musical suggestions for me in exploring this classical rock era?
Well, okay, so oddly enough, there's a lot of TV commercials that use some semi-obscure rock music from the 60s, late 50s and 60s and stuff that I've listened to lately, and that they inspired me to seek out the song and download it and have it, here, being able to listen to the whole song, not just the little bit that they play in the commercial. So
absolutely, yeah, that has happened to me plenty of times where I've heard a commercial on a song and I'm like, that's a catchy tune. I need to find that. Yeah, excellent. All right, Steve. Yeah. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. It has been. I had a blast. I don't know about you. This was actually a lot of fun.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah,
we're really looking forward to getting down to the Q Casino Resort, and we always do our best, so we're gonna try to put on the best show that we can.
And I wholeheartedly believe you guys will follow through.
Thank you.
Yeah, and drink lots of water because it's gonna be hot. That's my only suggestion for coming down here. It will be hot, so drink lots of water, lots of liquids.
Okay, I'll tell everybody.
All right, thank you so much. So one more time, August 6th at the Q, at the Quechan Casino and Resort, we have Heart by Heart performing. I don't have a time here, but I'm assuming since it's a rock concert, probably starts around 8, maybe 9.
Or maybe a little earlier.
Maybe a little bit earlier. Okay, so if you want information, visit the Quechan Casino and Resort website, and I'm sure they have the information. And we will post this information on the KXO Facebook. So one more time, Steve, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I feel like I actually learned a lot right now. So I can't wait to. In all honesty, I can't wait to go tell my mom. So, because my mom is a huge fan of Heart. So,
we'll bring her on down to the show.
Yeah, we might. I think we're gonna have to do that. All right. So, and if I do go, I'm gonna have to shout you out and be like, and meet you in person. So,
of course, Eli.
Excellent, excellent. All right, Steve, you have the absolute best day ever. All right.
Okay, I certainly will, and you'll be part of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a good one, buddy.
Thank you, Eli. Bye.
All right, so that was Steve Fossen, one of the original members of Heart. He's the bassist for Heart, and that was a lot of fun. But we got CBS News. Sounds a little bit. Well, CBS News is coming up here. We're just going to slide right into it. Actually, we got about 10 seconds. So one more time, the Quechan Casino, August 6th. It is in Winterhaven, and we got Heart by Heart. And right now, CBS News.